Hello, fellow YouTubers. I'm Gene Della Sala with Audioholics, and today we are doing an unboxing video for outdoor speakers for a company called Sonance. You're probably wondering, why am I doing outdoor speakers now? It's September, you're getting in the fall. Well, quite frankly, in Florida, there is no fall or there is no change of seasons. It's hot AF all year round, and right now it's freaking hot. We're doing an unboxing video for Sonance. These are really cool speakers. We have not covered them as much as we should, this company. They're really an interesting company, a custom install company, architectural kind of products. So I want to show you what they've sent us. We've got basically their flagship and their new Mariner line of outdoor speakers. And I cheated. I kind of unboxed the first one just to make sure it wasn't damaged. So we have here the Mariner 86. And there's 7 products in the Mariner line. And 2 of them are actually, you could use one speaker as a stereo pair for one speaker. There's 2 models in this lineup. I requested the model 86, which is the biggest woofer, the highest sensitivity, the most bass, because quite frankly, we like to party out here. And my neighbors over there in the back are Puerto Rican. They like to party too. So we're always having kind of competition wars of who could outcook each other and who can out loud each other. So these guys are going to be in for a little treat when they hear these speakers installed on that back wall right there, which we just did the pre-wiring for, and we're going to have to do some painting before we put the speakers in. So let me show you what is in the box. Bear with me here. I like these kind of egg carton kind of boxes that they do. And let us know what outdoor speakers you guys are using if you want to do some comments since we're live. Kind of curious to see what you guys are up to there. There's stuff in that box actually. I want to open them as well. So I'm going to set this down over here. Now, you can't just use any speaker outdoor. You got to make sure your outdoor speakers are weathered, and I'll read you off some of the specs on these speakers in a minute to show you why they're meant to be outdoor speakers. So here we are. It's got an 8-inch woofer, 1-inch tweeter, aluminized tweeter. It's interesting that they actually ran the wires through, if you could see, through the front, and then there's a little panel that goes over it to protect it. This is pretty cool. They're trying to make sure you don't get any type of corrosion going on here. And these come with a bracket. I'm going to put this down for a second and open the other box.
You have it come?
Feel free to read it off.
Have it come here when you ask what other speakers do you use, and we have some people who use Flitch.
Clips will play loud for sure.
And they're nice comments on the products that follow.
So you can see, here's the little panel that goes in the front after you do the install. Kind of set that down. Now I'm assuming what's in this box is either the bracket or the cover. So let's see what's in the box. And we have the grill cover right here. Now these speakers are available in white or black. I chose black. Actually, my wife chose black. So thank you, Bertha, for letting me even get these.
Oh, you're very welcome. I want a party too.
Awesome. So I'm going to put the grill on. I'm sure it requires a little finagling here, but bear with me here. So basically, this is what it's going to look like when it's flush mounted on the wall, or I should say, they're not magnetic grills, no. And I want to see, they do have a bracket that they come with. I'm not sure where that is. Must be in the other box. Anyways, they do come with a bracket, and basically you can mount these speakers 2 ways. You can mount them this way, which is vertical, which is what I recommend if you want the best acoustic response. Then the bracket will swivel left to right, but not up to down. But if you're mounting these high on the wall and you want them to point down towards the listening area, you can mount them sideways or horizontally. There's a little penalty in off-axis response or lobing that would cause from doing that if you do mount it that way. But I want to take off the grill cover again so you guys can get a better look at the woofer. And I want to tell you a little bit more about what I've discovered about these speakers. So basically, like I said, this is the Mariner 86. It's got a 1-inch powder-coated aluminum dome, ferrofluid-cooled tweeter, and an acoustic back chamber. And what that does is it allows them to cross the tweeter over at a lower frequency, which does better integration with the woofer. The woofer is an 8-inch Kevlar Nomex laminated cone with santoprene surround. It's basically a butyl rubber surround. And they claim that these models that replace the old models, they have 2.5 times the excursion, and they have a vented pole piece on the woofer. So you're going to get more bass, you're going to get better power handling, they have bigger voice coils. The vented pole piece will basically allow it to dissipate the heat more, so it'll be able to sustain higher power levels without blowing out or without getting too distorted. They rate the frequency response from 45 hertz to 20 kilohertz plus or minus 3 dB. Their impedance is 8 ohms, and I like the fact that they have a 91 dB sensitivity. That's a pretty high sensitivity for a speaker like this, which you need for an outdoor speaker, so you don't have to use so much power to drive them loud. They are about 9-inch by 14-inch by 8-inch, 20 pounds is what they weigh. I think that's per the pair. I'm not sure if that's each or for the pair. So a little background about Sonance. They are a custom install company that have been around since the 80s. They do claim to be the first to come up with flush mount speakers, and they do have a wider range of in-wall speakers that you guys want to check out. Like I said before, they have 7 different models in this line, ranging from a 5¼ inch to an 8-inch version. And what happens is there's different versions of the speaker. So there's a lower performance, or I should say this is the high performance version. It has the better drivers. The standard versions of these speakers don't have the same tweeter. They have a different woofer. They're not quite as sensitive or play as loud. But all of the speakers in this line are rated from minus 13 degrees to 149 degrees Fahrenheit. You could freaking use these things on Mars if you can get there. That's pretty cool. And they're IP66 waterproof rated, which means they can withstand heavy rains, multi-directional high-pressure water jets, if you have any, is what they claim on their website. And you do need a speaker that could weather this, to handle the weather in Florida, especially with the humidity. They also conform to a mil spec 810, which is a U.S. military ruggedness standard that ensures resistance to humidity, salt spray, and UV light. And yeah, so there's, these things were designed to last. And I can tell you, I've had a lot of speakers over the years for outdoor that have just dry rotted. You know, the woofers, if they weren't butyl rubber surround, they would dry rot. Or the cabinets themselves would just fade from sunlight. So these look like they're really well built. They're pretty rigid. I like that they're kind of a one-piece enclosure here. It just looks like that these are going to weather the storm well in Florida. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take these up in my lab and do some acoustical measurements and see how they perform that way. And then we'll install them, we'll do some listening tests, and we'll probably do another video on these speakers along with a written review. So guys, I think that's about it for these speakers. If you have any questions, please do it now before we leave, or forever hold your peace.
Yes, we have 2 questions. From Matthew Lombax, it says, "Good day, Gene. Great specs. What do you prefer for outdoors?"
I prefer outdoor speakers that, first of all, don't have a giant port in them, so they could allow animals or bugs and dust and all that crap. If you see an outdoor speaker that's got a big port, kind of run away from that, because that's not going to last very well.
So this one doesn't have that problem?
Doesn't have that. It's sealed here.
Can you see it?
Yeah. And I also prefer a speaker that can handle power and has a decent bass output. I mean, I would love to put subwoofers out here, but it's not really practical. So having a speaker with an 8-inch driver, especially when it's located against a wall, you're going to get some boundary gain. There should be satisfactory levels of bass coming just from these speakers without having to add a sub. I do believe Sonance offers different outdoor subwoofers and other kind of architectural speakers if you want to go that route as well. These kind of attract me because they're pretty compact form factor for an 8-inch driver. You tend to see a speaker of this size with a 6.5, Now, the difference between a 6.5 and an 8 inch is you're not going to get a whole lot more bass with the 8 inch necessarily, but you're going to get more sensitivity. So this speaker is going to be able to play louder. You might get a few hertz of extension extra with a bigger driver like this, but I'm more concerned about it being able to handle the loud volume, especially when we start having barbecues out here and we start competing with our Puerto Rican friends over there. So yeah, this looks impressive. I like that it has a good little tweeter there, and we will be finding out how they sound very shortly. One more question?
It's from Ira Wu. Isn't the box the size too small for the drivers?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, when you have a big woofer like this in a small enclosure, you're just limiting the low frequency output. It's not necessarily saying it's too small. It'll just be a little bit over damped. So you may not be able to get down to 30 hertz range with an 8 inch that you would in a big enclosure, but they do rate the 3dB point around 45 hertz. I think that's pretty respectable for such a small speaker and, with an 8 inch driver like this.
About the wires rotting. Will it be a problem?
Well, I use CL2 approved cabling. In fact, we use Blue Jeans cable. We're using 12 gauge in here, and CL2 has that nice rubberized jacket around it. There shouldn't be any problem, especially since I'm going to basically connect the bare wire through this terminal cup and cover it, and there won't be any corrosion problems at all.
There's a nice comments about what you do because Gene, how you do it, the way your neighbors can compete from Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan. And yes, they know that. In fact, they often tell me that they don't necessarily hear our home theater at night, but they feel it. And that's a great compliment if they could hear it or feel it, a few hundred feet away.
And they're happy you're also using blue jeans from Matthew.
Oh yeah, we love Blue Jeans cables. We did most of our pre-wires in the house with Blue Jeans, and everything we do with Audioholics is no nonsense. So we love companies like Sonance that are engineering-driven companies that produce real products without the snake oil. And we're looking forward to checking out these speakers and also looking at other solutions from Sonance to see what they offer the market that's unique from everybody else. So I think that's about it. Any other comments? Otherwise, we should just close this off and I should get to testing these speakers.
There's a few more questions, but we can definitely do those after we're done live.
All right, we will take those questions offline and I will answer them on the video itself. Well, guys, why don't you comment on what you're doing outdoor-wise for sound? I'm kind of curious if you're streaming outside, if you're doing, any kind of in-wall or out or a box kind of speakers outside, or if you're just using your old 1970s vintage box speakers and hoping that they don't dry rot and you're just using them until the day they end. I'm kind of curious to see what you guys are doing outside. So until next time, keep listening.